Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and game 1 in a series between Liquid Red versus Mouse Sports' Thorzain here on Typhon Peaks. Liquid Red spawning as the blue Zerg player here at the bottom left hand side of the map. Meanwhile, all the way over here, not too far across, we have Mouse Sports' Thorzain spawning as the red Terran. This is Terran versus Zerg here on Typhon Peaks, and I'm hoping that this is going to be a great matchup. We'll see what these players try to go for. Now, one of the reasons why I'm personally trying to cast more Terran versus Zerg games, besides the fact that I've seen a lot of Protoss versus Zerg, is I really don't know how to handle Zerg myself. So hopefully I'll be able to take a couple cues from Thorzain. Thorzain setting up a supply depot on the front door. Most likely we'll be getting a barracks and then another supply depot there. Meanwhile, we are getting an Overlord now making its way off to the north side. It is not going to be scouting in the correct direction. So that will be a little bit of a bummer for Liquid Red, as Red now trying to make its way out. Now, one of the things that you have to be aware of on Typhon Peaks is how you spawn. Based upon how you spawn, a lot of things can change. The Xel'Naga towers here are not going to provide nearly as much sight as it would be important if you were a north versus south spawn or a full cross spawn. Because of this hidden back path here where there is some brush, units can actually circumnavigate around these Xel'Naga watchtowers, and then you can have a large group of units now coming in. We are going to be going for an early hatchery by Ret though. Meanwhile, back over here, Thorzain currently I'm setting up a barracks. I do not see a second barracks at all, so he should be going for what I expect to be a fast command center as well. Most likely the command center could be built even right here, finishing off that wall in, and then allowing for the additional training of some SCVs, upgrading to that orbital command, now training up a Marine as the SCV is now out and about and trying to do some scouting. One drone will be trying to come up his way, but not be able to get in at all, as a Marine now going to be popping out. That drone not going to be able to get any or some damage onto the SCV, but not enough to really shut down that drone. And the drone now trying to run away. The drone, however, getting padded a little bit and now may be able to escape. No, unable to do so. And Thorzain getting that very early scouting drone there, getting a little bit lucky as the SCV has scouted in the wrong direction and now still wandering around. Thorzain still running off of just one command center, no gas, and there should be a command center being set up over here. Yes, it is going to be a 20 command center coming in, and this is in order to keep up with Liquid Red's drone production. If Liquid Red does decide to get up a lot of spine crawlers perhaps down here, and then some buildings back over here as well, what he can do is just sit off of 2-base play, power drone, and then try to take up another expansion here. Now, this is not the best possible spawning locations for Ret at all. One of the reasons why is the Zerg third base is so close to these destructible rocks. Terran players can easily start cliffing this location here with siege tanks, start shelling down damage, or they can even try to break down these rocks and come in with Marines and Marauders. Meanwhile, taking a look back over here, we are going into more racks play. We should be getting double gas by now. Yeah, double gas coming into play as well, as Thorzain should be slightly behind, just slightly behind on that SCV count, and we'll finally be able to start training up additional SCVs once this command center is done. We are going to see one SCV and 4 Marines now trying to make their way out, getting some damage onto those Zerglings. Production-wise, we can see that the metabolic boost about to be, or just started, so not much is going to be able to be done there, as that SCV now trying to lead the way. We don't see any additional units, and this is a problem. Not quite sure why Thorzain perhaps waiting for 1 or 2 more Marines to join in that battle, as more drones are currently being created. But Liquid Red not over-responding with Zerglings at this time, just getting 6. Okay, now he is getting 10. So he is now reacting to that early aggressive play with those Marines, trying to get more units up. We do see we have a couple of just Marines down over here, 1 Marine back over here as well, as the units are kind of scattered about. An Overlord about to suicide its way inside the base, try to figure out what exactly is going on inside here, as we are now going into double factory play and a tech lab as well. So we may be seeing perhaps Marine tank, a very, very strong build from Terran, and now the Marines are going to be trying to fight back against those Zerglings. The Zerglings are going to be able to surround and swarm here, trying to do that little bit of move and attack, trying to get some distance between those units, able to take down a couple of those Zerglings. Losses-wise, a lot more units lost by Ret than by Thorzain. Thorzain now trying to do a little bit of a counter push here. Does he have enough units? He does have enough units. Now going after the Spine Crawler. Spine Crawler has been canceled. So down it goes, but more Zerglings are still coming in, and now the Marines once again going to decide to back off as this Overlord still hiding off in that location. Production-wise, we are going into a Spire, Stim Pack, and now Hellions. So the Stim Pack will be a little bit of time before it is completed, as those Zerglings now trying to push their way across the map. They do move very, very quickly. And perhaps will shut down some of the Marines here. The Marines there are now trying to just get as much damage as possible. Just using that little bit of a stutter step, maximizing the amount of damage. And it looks like the Zerglings will finish off the Marines. But not first, dealing a lot of damage here. You can see Thorzain now just trying to train up more SCVs. 2 Marines now fighting back. We are getting the Blue Flame research. And now that Stim Pack, but those Mutalisks, which will be coming out in about 70 to 80 seconds, are going to be able to deal a lot of damage when there is not enough Marines to really fight back. And with no Thor and no Armory and no Engineering Bay in sight, those Mutalisks are going to be able to just simply destroy this mineral line here. Orbital command is now set up. SCVs, Marines are now trying to transfer down back onto that low ground. There are a couple of Zerglings over here, but nothing being left onto the low ground. Army-wise, 700 versus 225. The Blue Flame Hellions knowing that they can easily fight off any attack here, but by the time they reach their aggression, and by the time they reach the far side of the map, the Mutalisk will be coming into play, and that is just absolutely no good. Baneling's nest now coming online as well. 1 Mutalisk currently being trained, and now just waiting on perhaps a little bit more minerals to try to get even more. As we are now seeing multiple barracks now trying to make their way out, or barracks to complete this front door here. The Hellions gonna be pushing through. The Marines gonna be there to try to counter any of those. Any of the Mutalisks are coming into play, and now Blue Flame Hellions quickly torching. The Queen may simply get destroyed here, and that is going to be an issue. A Queen cannot get taken down this early in the game, but he does currently have 2 Queens up, and now that Mutalisk is going to engage. The Hellions are now backing off, so it is going to be Hellion Marine just getting a lot of damage on top of all of these units here, trying to shut down all of these creep tumors. There are a decent number of Mutalisks, 5 Mutalisks now, as the Marines are now trying to come in. They are going to Stim Pack, getting in some damage onto those Mutalisks there. The Hellions now trying to push their way forward, but the Mutalisks are just going to get cleaned, or just going to clean up those Marines, and those Hellions really do need to back off, losing 1 Hellion, 2 Hellions unnecessarily. And now finally, I'm just trying to drive off into the sunset. We are getting that starport here. Medevacs should be coming in. More Marines are being trained. SCVs having to do the long walk around, as those Mutalisks are going to be able to start putting some pressure onto this front door here. Those Marines are not going to be able to get that much damage. And now the units are simply in full retreat. There are Marines and tanks over here. The Marines, 1 Marine just getting sniped down, another one getting sniped down. And now going after that starport as well, and Liquid Red now trying to take some of that momentum away, which Thorzain was able to gather early on. And now we can see that the medevac taking a lot of damage. Marines now trying to make their way over, trying to get some damage. And now an early medevac also shut down as well. You can see 1 missile turret in the mineral line, another missile turret here as well. We should perhaps be getting some Thors as we are going into the armory. The Thors would probably be the best defense now, as he does not have the combat shield or level 1 weapons upgrade, and just being able to have 1 Thor in play forces the Zerg player to at least try to magic box as opposed to focus firing units. Continuing to just fly across the map here, another missile turret coming into play here, so it is going to look like there is going to be a decent amount of base defense. A supply depot going to get shut down here. SCVs need to stand by, need to be ready to start repairing this missile turret in case there is any sort of push here. And now the missile turret is getting some damage back onto those Mutalisks there, trying to get some long distance attacks, unable to do so. Marines finally pushing in, but the Mutalisk of Liquid Red just being able to contain Thorzain for so long, and now drones are being transferred. So Liquid Red now running off 3 bases, deciding not to take this expansion. A very, very smart call there, as the Mutalisk looking and trying to hunt for another target. Now the starport already down to 700 hit points, and the Marines are not going to really be able to fight back there. You can see the amount of splash damage. Marines now trying to stim through and perhaps being able to push through, and we now need to get some SCVs over and start repairing this 1 starport. Starport already down to 200 hit points there, and now trying to get some damage. The Marines are going to be perhaps going to try to stim back around the far side. Another SCV sniped down, and Liquid Red using those Mutalisks, letting those Mutalisks be everywhere they want to be, getting in so much natural damage already. So far we have seen Mutalisk and Zerglings so far. No Banelings net yet, even though we currently have the movement speed on those Banelings currently being researched and finally getting some Banelings in production. A Thor now making its way out. Perhaps we'll be able to get a round of those Javelin missiles into the backs of those Mutalisks, and when they're clumped up, they will take a fair amount of damage. The Mutalisk now maybe actually just accidentally flying into that group there. One Mutalisk was taken down, but not enough damage really to be dealt. As the Thor now trying to make its way out, we are getting the level 1 attack upgrades on the Siege Tanks and Thors, level 2 on the infantry. As Thorzain setting up more and more and trying to just macro up rather quickly. One Marine now pushing its way out as well. Banelings down over here. The Banelings are going to find... Wow, bad time for a sneeze. As the Banelings taking down the Thor, the Marines are now fighting back against the rest of the Mutalisk. Siege Tanks just absolutely sitting ducks there, as the Marines are once again going to try to push back in. We do have a lot of Zerglings coming in. The Marines need to push forward. The Siege Tanks need to get in position as well. And what happen to all of those Zerglings there, as more and more Zerglings are going to get taken down. And now Siege Tanks are sieging up, but that is a little bit further away than I would like to see them. The Siege Tanks are only going to be able to protect against any Zerglings and Banelings that are trying to come in. Mutalisk now coming in from that backside there, going after a medevac out of position, as the Mutalisk are now going to be able to intercept all of those reinforcements. So Liquid Red taking out the reinforcement line as opposed to going for the main army there, as the Marines are now coming in, getting some damage. Siege Tanks are battling out back and forth. Another round of Banelings coming in, and now just simply going to melt away so many of those Marines. This back Siege Tank was destroyed, as the Banelings are now looking to finish off their target, and no, finished off by the Mutalisk instead. Very nicely done. Thorzain now very far behind. You can see him sitting at 86 compared to 107 food, and also having about half the size army. Also drone count wise, or worker count wise, he is currently sitting on about half. Starport now trying to train up more medevacs. These barracks are taking a lot of damage so far, as the Mutalisk getting in with that level 1 attack upgrades, just using those glaive worms and chaining in a lot of damage even across those Marines there. Marines now trying to come in, maybe able to get some damage, yeah, and now shutting down some of those Mutalisks. Mutalisk taking a fair amount of damage there, and now trying to back up. There is one missile turret, and that is it. One poor Marine trying to stand against the swarm, unable to do so, as a command center now being set up here, and this is a very risky, gutsy move by Thorzain, as the Mutalisk doing such a good job just putting in a lot of pressure. No additional Thors are being trained. Another round of Javelin missiles coming in once more. The missile turrets may be able to get off. Oh, 2 quick kills, and that flyby was a no-go. Mutalisk now trying to decide where they want to go. The army sizes are starting to balance up just a little bit more, but the overall food count shows a completely different story. 62 versus 48. Those Banelings will be coming in as well, and Banelings very I guess cost effective for their food. 50 minerals, 25 gas, deals a lot of damage, as those Mutalisk are now looking to perhaps find another target and trying to put the final nail in the coffin. Zerglings now looking to swarm in. We are going to have, the missile turret absolutely destroyed here. The barracks is going to get taken down as well, and the Zerglings are going to be able to finish off and take down the last of those buildings here. We are going to have a Siege Tank trying to blast away, take down some of those other Zerglings, but we are also seeing some Zerglings trying to fight back here. Not going to work out, as the Marines now trying to come back in, trying to reinforce, and it looks like all of these poor Zerglings will get taken down. But now the Mutalisk are going to be able to just focus down this one Thor very easily. Only one Thor there. SCV is unable to come over to repair in time at all. No missile turrets. And now you can see the Planetary Fortress holding a bunch of SCVs, trying to keep them in for safekeeping, and now once again unloading them all once more. We now are sitting at 32 SCVs versus 62 drones. Thorzain with 2-0 upgrades, now trying to go into 3-0, as we are now going into perhaps a drop play, but this is not going to work. The Mutalisk are going to go simply straight after those medevacs there. No, not going to go after the medevacs there. All those Marines are now taken down. There are a couple of Mutalisks over here, and this is a last-ditch effort by Thorzain to try to put or deal some damage back. You can see that the Mutalisks are going to be able to take down that command center very easily. Zerglings coming in for the swarm, going to be able to finish it off. Marines now coming in, perhaps going to actually get some damage onto a couple of those drones, taking out the infestation pit. Now maybe perhaps going to be able to actually take down that spire and some of the other critical tech buildings as well. Zerglings now trying to swarm in. Drones now coming in to engage as well, but the Marines with so much stim, dealing so much damage back over here, perhaps going to take down the layer and the spire, which would completely reset the tech. Two Thors now fighting back over here. The Zerglings are coming back around, and Liquid Red needs to move back with those Mutalisks. The Mutalisks, there are a decent number of them, but the Marines, I believe, are upgraded. Yes, they are now upgraded 3-0, able to deal so much damage so quickly, but still not enough. And Thorzain says GG. So Liquid Red taking game 1 in this best of 3 series, I believe. Stay tuned for game 2.